And that's the ultimate thing with being in this industry. You need to talk to those other people and see what works. And just because something works in Atlanta doesn't mean it's going to work here.
Right.
Something that works in California is not going to work here.
Right. You're listening to the Aerial Hour, episode number 17. The Aerial Hour is a weekly podcast where I interview aerial entrepreneurs and professionals within our industry. Hello, friends, and thank you for joining me for another episode of the Aerial Hour. Before I get to today's interview, I want to talk about a couple of quick things. First up, I want to check in with you. How are you doing? How are you holding up? Are you starting to reopen things where you're at? I want to know. Drop me a message on Instagram or through email with how you're handling COVID. And please, if there's anything I can do to help or anything I can promote, please send it along my way and I'll either help out in any way I can or make sure to reshare it. Next up is we are still stationary at the moment in North Florida. We have been closely monitoring the situation as it develops, but plan to head to Texas as soon as we can. I have a couple of episodes that I've been holding off releasing because of this COVID situation, but as we slowly start to reopen, I'll start releasing these again. Next up will be the fire starter herself, Jo of Vertical Joes, and I cannot wait to release this episode. It's not only informative, but incredibly entertaining and so much fun. And finally, if you love the show and want to help us out, please write us a review on Apple Podcasts or follow us on social media. Reading your reviews is one of my very favorite things. Hearing how the show has helped you or what you love about it absolutely warms my heart each time. This also helps other people find us easily by ranking our podcast higher. And while you're at it, tell your friends too. You can follow us on social media at The Aerial Hour on both Instagram and Facebook. And now on to today's episode. Today's interview features owner Brittany from Aerial Dance Panama City. Since I'm not too far from here and I have a 6-foot table, I was able to travel to this lovely space and escape for a moment. In this episode, we talk about Brittany's incredible space, growing this space with her family, and handling disasters. And I'm not just talking about COVID here. Unfortunately, COVID was not the first disaster Brittany survived. Only 15 short months ago was her studio hit by Hurricane Michael. Her studio was significantly impacted and she's been rebuilding since then, and now we're in the midst of COVID. Hear in this episode how she's not only surviving but continuing to go through these situations. If you want to know more about this episode, you can head over to theaerialhour.com and check out the show notes. I hope you enjoy this episode and I'll see you on the other side. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me for another episode of the Aerial Hour. Today, I am somewhere, and I'm so excited to finally be somewhere. I am in Panama City at Aerial Dance Panama City with Brittany. How are you doing today, Brittany?
I'm wonderful. It's so good to see you. I feel like I have so much to say because I haven't had any opportunity to talk to anybody.
It's so weird this time right now. We're totally going to date this episode, and we are going to say we're in the midst of COVID and handling it, and we're going to get into all those details here shortly. But first, tell me about your amazing space.
Oh, well, thank you. So I absolutely love my studio. It is the most wonderful place on earth to me, and we have just the best students in the world. We're definitely like a little family here. I've visited a ton of other studios, and I may, just think mine's the best, but I just really do. I think it's the best. We are all so close, and it's so special.
Yeah. How many instructors do you have here currently?
So right now we have none.
Right.
Because we're closed.
Yeah.
But we typically would have 11 instructors that are waiting to come back into the space.
And currently, what is the size of your space?
So our space here is 2,500 square foot.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And you actually lost some of that during the hurricane, which we're going to get into. Is that correct?
Yes. Well, that was outdoor space,
right.
But it was really nice because we did have rigging points outside, and it was just absolutely wonderful. And that hopefully is still a work in progress because, we still have our building still doesn't have the gutters. Like, we have the roof and the walls, but we still have a lot of work to do on the building itself.
Yeah, for sure. And how long have you been in this space for?
So we're going on our third year.
Yay.
So yeah, but it's kind of crazy because we get in here and then within the first year we have the hurricane and it tore us up. And then we get everything semi back together and now COVID. And so like, I'm just being really optimistic about next year because it's going to be like even though we've been here for almost 3 years, it's going to be our first year to be in this space.
Right. So. Full year. And I saw that you did training where?
So I actually have a few different places that I've trained. I've done 3 different certification programs. My favorite, well, I shouldn't say my favorite. My first was the New England Center for Circus Arts. And then I also just recently did Born to Fly, and I loved that program as well. So I like to bring the program here every couple of years to help our community continue with new teachers and so forth. But we're such a rare space for aerial because there's not another studio. You have Atlanta, which is 5 hours.
Right.
And then you have Orlando, which is 5 hours. So
right.
We're very rare to have aerial in such a secluded area.
Right. And what apparatus do you offer here?
Oh, we have almost everything. We have silk, sling, lyra, trap, dance trap, lollipop. Oh my gosh, what else do we have? We have rope. Oh, of course, rope. What am I missing?
Yeah. No, that's
harness,
like everything.
Harness I love.
And then you mix apparatus too, which is super cool.
Yes, we love to get creative and change things up a bit. As long as it's safe and everything's in the working load limit of the apparatus itself, we really love to add and take away different aspects of each apparatus.
Super cool. And how long have you been dancing for yourself?
So the studio we've had now for 9 years this year. That's so crazy.
That's so crazy. Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
a huge accomplishment.
That sounds so crazy. Yeah, so 9 years. It's just a really long time.
Yeah.
I can't believe that.
And how did you find the aerial community?
So I was working in plastics and reconstruction.
Okay.
And Obamacare just happened. It was just really stressful time and like everything was just really hard. And so I needed like an outlet. So there was a visiting aerialist in Destin, which is about an hour from here. And I decided to drive over and just give it a shot. And I fell in love immediately. And we only had her for about 6 or 8 months, and then she was contracted out in Vegas. So that was really wonderful because I was training with her 2-3 times a week. I would drive out there after work, after working nonstop, before a kid.
Right.
So my freedom was a little bit, better, but I fell in love immediately.
Yeah. And how long was it before you decided to open your own space?
So that's the funniest story. I had no intention on owning an aerial studio. So I fell in love with it. Well, then, of course, there's nothing here. So once she left, I would go to Atlanta. Luckily, my mom lives in Atlanta. So I would go visit my mom. And I would train up there a good bit. And then I'd found a space that would let me rent by the hour.
Okay.
And so I would rent an I-beam by the hour. And I would do my thing. And then other people came to me and said, oh my gosh, I want to try that. Can you teach me? And I'm like, no way. I have no clue how to teach anybody. It was not my intention.
Right.
I applied for the New England Center for Circus Arts. It was booked. I was not able to get in for some time. And then finally that winter I was able to get in. And so I don't know if you've been to NECA. It's in Vermont and it's very cold. And they just got hit with a snowstorm. So it was like 2 degrees and I'm from Florida.
Right. That's not...
Yeah, so luckily I had a girlfriend that was up there and she had lived there a while. So I stayed with her in her cottage and we had rented it out. It was so wonderful because it was this tiny little old home. She would put on her snow outfit and then have her like aerial outfit underneath it. And that's how we would get to the studio.
Oh my gosh. How
we would
funny.
actually have, and in my mind, I brought like high heels.
Right.
I thought we were going to go out at night.
No.
Not a clue.
No.
You do not go out at night.
No.
It was so scary driving.
Too cold to do anything.
It was insane.
Yeah. That's crazy. And so at what point did you decide to open your own space?
That's right. Sorry.
That's okay.
So people just kept asking me. Finally, I did the teacher training and I finished that. And then I decided, I'm going to go ahead and start adding to this. So I had 1 fabric, and when I had enough money, I would buy 2. And when I had enough money, I'd buy 3. And then it just continued. And then it came to a point that I just couldn't keep renting that space. I had to get my own. And it just blew up from there. Other people fell in love with it. We became a family. Other teachers came in. They went to teacher training. So we all had this plethora of information from all these different teacher training programs. And then we just opened that way.
Yeah. Was there anything that you did in the beginning to cultivate that community, or was it just kind of I mean, the nature, I feel like, of Aerial in itself, you're doing things in a group setting where you're supporting each other and connecting that way. So it might already lend itself to that community. But was there anything that you did?
Not anything that I did personally. I was taught by some really wonderful ladies. And so I was already given the platform that I wanted to create here. I already knew what I did and did not want by visiting other studios, and that's where I was really lucky because, like I said, I didn't mean to open the studio.
Right.
And I was traveling around and I was seeing how they were doing things, and then I realized what I loved about each studio and what I didn't love. And so that's when I started this. I said, these are the things we're going to do. These are the reasons why. But also, all of my teachers, we don't really say the studio is my studio. It's like it's our studio. So any time we have anything new going on, I'm like, hey guys, what do y'all think of this? And they're like, no, that's horrible. Don't do that. Or yes, absolutely, that will work. So I feel like because I don't run it like a business, it's more of a home for us. Everybody has input and everybody gives advice, and I take that into perspective anytime I make any kind of decisions.
That's awesome. I love that. And I think the space feels like a family. Like you walk in and it feels almost like a home. And I really appreciate that. What ages do you teach? Because when I came in, I saw kids, which is so cool.
So we used to start at 6.
Okay.
And then I had my son, and I realized, oh my gosh, there's so much we could be doing with these kids. Just the basic foundations, like standing on one foot, hopping to the other foot, how to climb just basic rope, how to swing on a trapeze. So it's more of creative play. So now we start at 3.
Okay.
And that class is only a 30-minute class. And like I said, it is swinging on a trapeze. What we call Spider-Man is going upside down in a sling and wrapping our legs and shooting spider webs.
Nice.
But the kids love it, and it's teaching them discipline. Like you need to wait in line. You need to, make sure it's your turn, follow the rules. So it's definitely a learning experience. Even though they are so young, it's not necessarily aerial based in those fundamentals, but it is teaching them the discipline to be able to do that in the future.
That's really interesting. How did you develop that program? Was it something that you saw like in your own home that you needed, or?
Yeah, I mean, being a businesswoman, owning your own studio, it was very difficult having a newborn and then a 1-year-old and then a 2-year-old and then those progressional stages. And so anytime I would go to the studio, like you see now, I would be like, okay, honey, you go do this while I like try to clean up or, do the basic things. And then I just watched him, my mom. So I watched him and I watched him learn and watched him play. And I realized like there's a need for this. And our community really appreciate it too. Because a lot of these moms have kids.
Right, I'm sure.
So we got the classes stacked so that the parents are able to take a class, and then there's also a kids class at the same time. So
How smart.
Well, it works.
Yeah.
And it's easy for everybody.
Right. That's so smart. And was there anything that you had to do in order to teach children? Did you have to do any additional training, or did you create a program, or how did that come about?
So we definitely did a lot of research on it, and I was really blessed because we have a lot of parents that are already professionals in that field.
Yeah.
One of them's in the studio now, and she kind of sat me down and helped me design it. That's what she does for a living. So we were able to create the curriculum very easily. And of course, it's always changing.
Right. Yeah.
Each child is different. So that's how we implemented that program.
That's cool. How long have you been doing that for now?
About 2 years.
Okay, very cool. So it's kind of growing with the kids as they grow too. How cool.
And that's why I said it's forever changing.
Yeah.
Now my little one's not so little. So now we're understanding like, okay, this age group is good for this age group is not good for this. And like I said, once again, each child is different.
Yeah.
So.
Being that this is kind of a not secluded area, but there isn't a lot around here, did you talk to other studio owners that were maybe offering children programs, or?
No, because there's not any.
Right.
There's nobody really for me to reach out to. Now, I have a lot of mentors that own studios as well that I always talk to on a regular basis.
Yeah.
I ask for advice. How did they do this? How did they do that? And that's the ultimate thing with being in this industry. You need to talk to those other people and see what works. And just because something works in Atlanta doesn't mean it's going to work here.
Right.
Something that works in California is not going to work here.
Right.
So you just have to give and take, what works and fill out your community. We're all so different.
Yeah. And in addition to this space, you also have a performance troupe and you guys do events. Is that correct?
Yes. So our studio, we offer 3 different in-studio performance companies. And what that is we have our junior performance company, and that's 6 to 12 years old.
Okay.
Then we have our varsity, which is one step above, and that is 12 to 18. And then we have what we call our Aerial Teen Performance Company. That's teenagers only. And so what those 3 programs are is they are designed that once the person becomes 18, that they can either then go into the teaching world, then go into the performance world, and have almost everything they need under their belt. Rigging, performance space, everything that you can imagine, we teach them that.
That's really cool. And how did you develop that?
So that was, we have a professional company like you asked. I don't want to go into too much detail with that because they're all independent contractors.
Okay.
We're not a performance company. We don't say that we're a performance company, but we give them the tools that they need that then they can go and do their, they can do their thing.
That's really cool. Do you help them find gigs or anything, or just teaching them how to market themselves to be able to do that?
Okay. So because we are an aerial studio,
so people are coming to you guys.
We're already going to get that.
Right.
And we do have a couple contracts with local condos that they know to call us already. We've already worked with them. And so what we do is we have a group and we say, okay, this is an available event. Who wants it? And then it goes from there.
Okay.
But like I said, we give them all the tools that they need that they're able then to take that gig, create their contracts that we all know the prices. We don't lowball anybody. We all know what we deserve to be paid for what we do, and we stick to that. So
that's awesome. That's really cool. Was that something that you felt you needed or just saw?
Well, in the aerial world, you're going to see people lowball. You're going to see people not ready to be performing, taking gigs. And it's just really dangerous. And I did not want that to happen here. I didn't want these girls to realize they can make money, but then they go hang from a tree and end up breaking their neck or something. It's just not safe for anybody. It's not good for anybody. It's bad business all around. And so by implementing these programs, it gives these people an opportunity to perform, but in the correct way. And it gives them all the tools that they need that when they're ready to take a gig, they're confident in that. And they're not going to lowball or they're not going to put themselves in a dangerous position or an unethical position.
Oh, it's so smart. And starting it so young, too. It's amazing. What types of events are you guys not currently, but what types of events are you doing and what types of apparatus?
So that's a little heartbreaking that, we live in a tourist area.
Right.
So spring break is a huge time for us, and so is summer. Honestly, we don't book a ton in the winter. Those couple months are just, they make our year. So,
right. And this happened literally.
Spring break.
The week that spring break was starting here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so all of those events were canceled. And I hate that. I hate it for all the girls that worked so hard. The most popular apparatus that is booked is the lollipop or a sling. Everybody loves sling. I think silks are wonderful. They're beautiful. They're very difficult to perform because you're not going to get up there and perform a 20-minute routine.
Right.
You also have to clear out the space that it's safe for everybody. You don't want people touching the fabric. So with the sling, you're able to perform above the audience. You can do champagne pouring. It's really simple. And you could be up there for a long period of time.
Right.
I mean, just sitting on a sling and looking beautiful makes the audience just say, wow.
Right.
And the lollipop is just very similar. It could be set up anywhere. It could be moved anywhere. Right. I mean, it's the X pole with just the lollipop on top.
Yeah,
so.
That's very cool. So we kind of touched on a little bit about the first disaster, and that was Hurricane Michael. So we are in Panama City, and you guys were hit like head on by Hurricane Michael. And what year was that?
That was 15 months ago. Jeez. I mean, for me, it's hard to say like when that was because it was just such a strange time. I don't think anybody, if you were not here for that, I don't think people understand. I mean, you saw when you pulled up, we have FEMA trailers.
Right.
It was 15 months ago.
Yeah.
These people have no homes.
Right.
And that's just one. You keep going down and they're everywhere. So Hurricane Michael was definitely a very difficult time. The virus, yes, it's horrible. I mean, it is. It's absolutely horrible. With Hurricane Michael, we didn't have phones. We didn't have internet. We had no way to call our family. I just remember going to the grocery store. The guy parked next to me had no windshields. A tree had gone through his car. He drove it there to get... The grocery stores were only allowed to sell like water and canned good items. And he had a phone. And I remember just going up to him and just like crying. Yeah. I don't want to cry. Yeah. To call my mom. Because I hadn't talked to my mom. And I wanted her to know like we were okay, you know? And you just take that for granted. Like right now we're stuck at home and it sucks. It totally sucks. But we have the internet, we have communication, we have Zoom.
Right.
I mean, not to be able to call your mom and just say, Mom, I'm okay. Like that, I'm scared and like my studio's messed up and like I don't know if we're gonna be okay.
Right.
You know? Just listening to her talk back to me on this guy's phone, you know, and because not Verizon, I think only one phone actually worked in Panama City. It was AT&T or something. And that was for months.
Wow.
I mean, it wasn't like overnight. It was 2 or 3 months we didn't have cell phones. I don't even know how long it was for internet. I couldn't even tell you. It was
crazy.
Insane.
And you lost part of the structure of your building.
Oh yeah. So we were stuck in our house. Trees came down. We weren't able to get out. And so it took about a day for us to be able to drive the vehicle. When we got to the end of this road, I had to leave my car. You could not drive on this road at all. And I was so desperate to get here. And why? I don't even know why. I just had to get here.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I didn't know.
Right. You gotta know.
And the satellite footage showed
Oh, God.
the satellite footage was just like the whole building was just ripped off. And I just knew, I know it was horrible. So I crawled over trees and power lines and thinking now looking back, like, why did I do that?
Because we're crazy.
I know. I get here at this door, you couldn't open it. So I went around the back and I just like started crying. And so I got inside, water was just, everywhere. And so the building itself was okay. My wall was ripped off, my roof was semi-ripped off, but for the most part, we were okay. My freestanding frame.
Okay.
Thank God that I invested in that because once we got everything clean, I put a tarp on the wall, tarp on the roof. We were able to reopen very quickly.
Okay.
2 weeks, we had a generator for the lights.
Okay.
We had buckets of water for the toilet.
Right.
Doors were right open.
Yeah.
We were nobody really understood like how bad this area was.
Right.
When you look at the news and stuff like that, but it was an emotional outlet. I had people coming in that lost their entire home.
Right.
And they were just like, here.
Right.
I just want to be here.
And that's what I wanted to ask you. Kind of, I'm sort of guessing, sort of like this situation, like people just need a place to be and express themselves. And so just like this situation, I'm sure people were looking for that outlet during that time.
Absolutely.
And did they kind of rally around you? How did you recover the studio?
It wasn't, like I said, it was insane. The people that showed up, I don't even know how or why or how they heard about it. For the most part, I wasn't able to run the studio from my home on internet because we didn't have it. So we had a burner phone. It sounds so crazy. We finally got a burner phone that was shipped to me from my sister.
Okay.
So I would call my sister every morning and say, here's my internet, here's my website address. Here's can you log in and post this? And I would have, can you log into my Facebook and post this? Because we didn't have any way to do that.
Right.
So I would post like once or twice a week. These are things that we're going to try to do. And people just flooded in. And it was crazy because the people that flooded in were the ones that lost everything. Everything, had nowhere to live. And they just, I guess they needed the space to just not talk and not listen and just listen to music and get in the air,
Thank goodness for spaces like this during those times. And so now we're 15 months later and I'm sure you're still kind of recovering. Is that correct?
Yes, we're definitely still recovering.
And then how was business doing pre-COVID? So I know we were getting like right up into when this area is going to get busy, spring break. But right before that, how were things going? You're starting to recover. What does that look like?
So it was really difficult. We lost a lot of instructors because the housing, there's no housing.
Right.
There's no jobs here. People had to leave. And if you were military, you were sent off.
Right.
So we lost a lot of instructors that were military that had to leave. So that was the hard part. We were very short on teachers. We lost about half of our clientele.
Wow.
Either they had no home, they still don't have a home, or they had to move away because, like I said, we still don't have homes.
Right.
So we were working about half capacity, which is okay. We weren't like struggling or anything. When COVID hit, it was a little stressful because we haven't received any financial aid.
Oh, really?
So we didn't qualify for anything. That's the most infuriating part with this whole situation is the government's telling me you have to close your doors, but by the way, we're not going to provide you with anything. So all of my instructors are independent contractors. Right. So like that doesn't help me pay my rent.
Right.
It's extremely frustrating, especially when we weren't recovered. We didn't have that extra money set aside. Every penny that we made last year, I had to put new walls back on, I had to buy new mats, new equipment. So the day that I crawled to the studio, I didn't think to pull my mats up. I didn't think about it. I just thought, okay, let's patch as much as we can. When the road's clear, we'll come back and clean. So my mats sat in water for about a week and a half. So the amount of mold that we had, it was insane. We had to throw so much away, and that is devastating.
Right. I mean, that's your business, essentially.
Yes, and mats are not cheap.
No, they're not. None of this stuff is. I mean, really.
I know my rope, I think it's like $600. We lost a couple of them with mold.
Right.
And there's nothing you can do, and they were new. They weren't old and like nasty, and I just, how do you throw that away without being like...
Yeah, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it was
absolutely heartbreaking. And so now we're coming up to COVID, and I think we were actually talking like the week before all of this hit, and things were starting to slow down. Like I think I was the beginning of March. Things had started to slow down, but at that point they weren't fully closing down. When did you have to shut your doors?
So we closed our doors, spring break is when the Department of Health said that we had to close. They said we had to close until May the 8th. So.
Oh, wow.
We knew back then that we were going to be closed till May the 8th.
So like we're still in the close down period. It's May 7th right now. And so back then you knew that you were going to have to close down for over a month. Yeah. So
2 months.
2 months. Jeez. Right? What month is it?
I know.
What did you do to pivot your business so you could continue running it?
So immediately, right when I found out we were going to be closed, I got on Zen Planner, which is my system, and I printed off a PDF of everybody's packages and memberships, and I deleted all of them.
Wow.
And all the ones that I couldn't delete that were like a monthly thing, I put them on hold.
Okay.
Because Zen Planner charges you for how many packages you have, you pay more.
Okay.
So I wanted to get it to be as cheap as possible.
Okay.
Immediately called my internet, canceled it. Power bill, asked for an extension. Called my landlord. He's the bomb, by the way. Told him I'm not paying you. I'm not paying you.
Right.
He said, totally don't worry about it. We'll figure it out later. So he was cool. Which is I'm really lucky because a lot of other people don't have that opportunity, especially since the storm. So many of these buildings have been destroyed. He could very easily rent this space out to anybody, and they would probably pay cash.
Right.
Like, it's such a desperate time right now for these type of buildings, and he was so just very loving and very encouraging. Like, you're going to do fine. You're going to be okay. Yeah. I'm going to support you kind of thing. So definitely reaching out to all my students. We put all packages on hold. I don't know when we're going to lift those packages. It's not going to be when we reopen.
Right.
Because what's going to be my guidelines? You can only have 6 people in here. Well, I mean, we were running 3 to 4 classes at a time.
Right.
I don't know. So we're just going to have to take baby steps, and hopefully something will change soon. But it is going to be a very slow reopening process.
So did you start by offering online classes?
We immediately started with online classes. But unfortunately, with Aerial, there's not much that you can do.
Right,
and what we did not want to happen, and with Pole, I think you can a little bit more than
still
with us.
Grounded, but your stuff is not grounded almost at all. So it presents different challenges where Pole, you can kind of do like low flow
and conditioning.
Conditioning, which we both can do, but it's difficult. Yeah, for sure.
But with us, I can't.
No.
What I did not want to happen is all these people go out and buy a silk and hang it from a tree or hang it from something. So we did our best by offering like rigging courses, stuff that's like one-on-one, sit down, let's talk about it. Pull-up bar classes, which I could teach for days. Pull-up bar classes.
I saw that. That's super cool.
But that's it.
And I saw like flexibility, stretching classes, those type of things.
Yeah, but they can get that anywhere.
Right.
We were really lucky. The studio owners around the world, there's a page that we're all on, and each one of them made a PDF. So I put it on our website that they could take classes now from anybody all around the world. You just click on the website, and there's a ton of classes listed.
Nice.
And they're floor-based or low to the ground based apparatus type work. So
Very cool.
that's something what I love is that something that you may never have trained at NECA, but you could go take a class right now from them or San Diego. You can which is something they would have never offered if it wasn't for COVID, which is such a blessing in disguise.
I totally agree. The opportunity to train with people that you never get access to. And I do hope that some of this continues, because I think it is beneficial to be able to pick from different people and learn. But I definitely don't want to take away from the studios. Yeah. So it's interesting to find that balance of working, like collaborating and then doing your own thing. With the online platform, which platform are you utilizing?
We were using Zoom.
Okay, Zoom. And have you seen students keep coming in, just looking to work out and exercise, or how have those been received?
Hit or miss. It's definitely hit or miss according to the day and the time of the week. I had just one day, I just got on to my pull-up bar class, and I had like 13 people on there from around the world, which was cool.
So cool.
Somebody was in Germany, or I don't remember where, and it was like 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Somebody else, and they all have really, some of them I couldn't even talk to. I was like, I don't know what you're saying, but if you so that was really, I just remember thinking, wow, this is a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah.
How do you get people from all around the world to log into a pull-up bar class,
It's so cool. It is cool. Really, really cool. Are there any other things that you're doing during this time to keep the studio connected? I mean, I don't know how anybody has any time to do anything else except to keep their business just moving along.
That's a really good question. We have a platform that we all communicate on. That's like a group. Yeah. So I have been posting a lot, just photos and like different things that are coming up, just to keep them all feeling connected. But I also don't want to take away this time, because this is like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Not even once in a lifetime. I mean, once in how often do you get something like this? But being a mom and like having a family, I understand the importance of just being with my family without having the pressure of, I need to do this, I need to do that. We want to be there for our people because they want to and they need that outlet, but we also don't want to make them feel pressured like, it's my class on Tuesday, I have to do that. I want them to feel like we are an outlet, like a stress relief, and not like causing the stress.
Yeah, for sure. What does it look like moving forward for you? Do you have any idea? As we're in Florida, so things have started to reopen, not necessarily gyms and fitness studios, but things were in what they call phase 1, I guess. What does that look like for you?
So we're still waiting on when we're going to get to reopen. So what you may have seen our video. We created a video, and so
which I'll link to because it's fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you did a really great job.
Thank you. The guy that did that is Eric Darnell. He's an amazing videographer. Okay. He has less videos, and he's just awesome.
Okay.
So yeah, what we're going to start with is what we call the one-on-one. It's just you and your apparatus. There's nobody else in this space. We'll do that for a while, and that's just an opportunity for people to get in the air. And it's just 30 minutes. Okay. So we ask them, show up 10 minutes before. You have a warm-up space that's just for you. You get 30 minutes in the air, and then you have a cool-down space that's just for you.
Okay.
And we have little posters there listing, like, in case they don't remember what to do, it's listed. Right. But, we haven't been in the air in 2 weeks. 2 months, sorry. Right. 2 months. You're not going to get up there and be able to do the things that you've done before. So this is just basically conditioning. And I related it to, and I think this is so unfair. I feel like we're being treated so badly.
Yeah, for sure.
If you want to go play tennis or go for a walk or go play golf, the golf courses are open. Mm-hmm. You're allowed to do that. Yet you can't just go do aerial anyway.
Right.
So basically, I'm just going to start with opening the studio for one-on-one, just like if you were going for a walk. It's just you and your apparatus. And then when I'm allowed, according to the guidelines, I would like to start with group classes, but once again, not sharing apparatuses, which is difficult, and only allowing a limited amount of people per class and not stacking my classes.
Right.
It's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard.
Another thing that I saw that you're doing, which I thought was really smart, was each person is assigned their own fabric. So if they're going to be using fabric, then they have their one, mm-hmm. They write their name on the bag, and that is theirs, so you can keep track of things.
Yes, and we in our contract when you come in, it states you're not allowed to own your own rigging. It's a safety thing unless it's been properly installed by a professional rigger. We don't allow it. So this is the first time that we've ever allowed a student to actually purchase fabric and rigging from us, just because we want them to have their own and to be safe with that. So yeah, everybody has their own. Luckily with Lyra Trap and all those apparatuses, those are easy.
Right.
But we have a lot of sling and silk people.
Right.
So.
And what precautions are you having to wash those now if we're able to reopen?
So you've seen our space. So typically if you walked into our space, each point that you saw would have multiple, would have 4 or 5 apparatuses, and we would fly them away. And then the pulleys would obviously change out. We pulled everything down and washed. It took me, I don't know, God, it took me so long to clean everything. So at least now the studio's clean.
Yeah, right?
No, but once they go in the bag, they stay in the bag.
Great.
We're being told by the CDC that the virus dies within 3 days.
Okay.
So even if something was in that bag, it's still, it's going to die.
Okay.
And we're not letting anybody else touch it. They're the only ones that touch it.
Right.
They clean the mat. There's a strict protocol that they have to abide by.
And the protocol, how did you put this all together? Is this something that you saw somewhere else, or you were just like, I've been through disaster before. I've got this.
Well, I have a medical history. I worked in the medical field. My brother is an internal medicine specialist. My husband's also a doctor. So I'm not naive to proper care. So reading the guidelines of the CDC, Steven Santos, which is a professional rigger, owned his own studio as well. He had a podcast with multiple not only studio owners, but people working directly with the COVID.
Okay.
So we understood, they explained it to us, how we need to take these steps. Now, what the government tells us, so we have not only the circus arts industry, we also have the government. So we will still abide by the circus arts because I'm sure the government's not going to be near as strict as what we are going to do to keep our families safe.
Right.
But it is going to be interesting to see how those two correspond together and what else we find. It's ever changing.
Right.
Every day it's something new.
And so as we stand right now, you don't know when you're able to reopen.
We have no clue.
So what does this mean right now for your business? I'm
just holding my breath.
Yeah.
We're going to be okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I also saw that you're offering a financial aid for people.
So I'm super transparent with our studio. Like I said, I ask for advice on everything. Everybody knows our business, especially the teachers. They know what we're making, what we need, these kind of things. And so a lot of people have actually donated their stimulus check to us. And so what we're doing with that, we're not taking it for ourselves. We're giving it to the students. So it's a win-win opportunity. The students receive this financial aid to use at the studio. We still are able to pay our rent and our power and that sort of thing. Or we will be able to do those because of this. And so, like I said, it goes back to that family thing. It's people see that there's a need and some of these people need it, especially with the ones that have packages. They have packages that they paid for, yet we're not going to be able to use that for a while. So this gives them an opportunity to still take classes because somebody was kind enough to offer that for us.
That's amazing. And how soon after closing did that come about?
I had people calling me instantly. How can we help you? What can we do? And that just shows how wonderful our community is.
It is.
How can we help? Now that happened after the storm. After the storm, I had people from the circus industry all over just, oh my gosh, I saw what happened. How can I help? I said, okay, well, this person needs a package. They lost everything. They need food, water. I had people buying people's groceries and we were able to supply that to them, which is really nice.
That's awesome. Is there anything that the community can do right now to help you?
I feel like we're all in this together, so there's nothing, that I actually need right now besides opening my doors. I know everybody's dying to get back in here. I hear it all the time. When are you gonna open? When are you gonna open? There's no answer yet. So we just have to hang on.
Right. So phase 1 is working at 25%, I think I read.
Not for us.
No,
but
I think
for Florida.
Sorry. So phase 1 is nothing for gyms.
Nothing.
Phase 2, I think gyms start being able to open. Is that correct?
So what I'm hearing is And who knows?
It's so up in the air.
Yeah, I'm hearing we're going to be the third phase.
Okay.
And it will be, the third phase is looking at May the 28th. Will be the third. But like I said, we're not doing that. I'm not going to open my doors. I'm not going to be like, come on, everybody. And then we all get sick and then we're back to square one. We'll do the one-on-one, like I discussed. And then we'll bump that one-on-one to the 2 points where we have 2 people on one-on-one. And then hopefully the next week, if everything's okay, we'll do small group classes. And then hopefully the next week, if everything's okay, then we'll maybe do, 6 people per class. And we'll just keep bumping it up. But, who knows?
Right.
They could have an antibody test next week, and then we could just open our doors. But as of right now, to this date, we will not be opening on May the 28th, even if we're allowed. It will be, take our time, let's do this safely and smartly, because the last thing we need is an outbreak.
Right. Yeah. Well, this has been so much great information. I really appreciate everything that you've already shared. I wanted to ask, you guys do a lot of performances, or you were doing a lot of performances. What is the favorite performance that you have ever done?
Oh, we do a lot. You see them all around the room. We do our annual student showcase once a year. It is so wonderful. And we have about, I think last year we had about 800 or 900 people at that show. It's quite large, yeah. I think my favorite was either Once Upon a Time, which is like a Disney theme.
Yes.
Or last year, which was something I created. It was called Whirlwind.
Okay.
And I think that one was my favorite because it was such a personal, thing that one I produced. I created the storyline, and I don't think I made it through one rehearsal without just bawling my eyes out. The audience that day, it was just unbelievable. That's the one you see on the wall behind you. That artwork was done by Chrissy. She actually had to leave after the storm. She was our trapeze teacher, and she did that. She drew it herself.
That's so cool.
We miss her, but yeah, that production was definitely just, it was, like you said, it's an emotional outlet that just like, I poured my heart into that one. So it was just amazing.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now we got to come up with one for COVID.
Well, this year we voted on the Nutcracker.
Okay.
So that's going to be fun. That's another, I am worried about that. I'm worried, are we going to be able to do that?
Right.
It's a huge...
How shows happen anymore.
What's going to happen? Hopefully...
Right. When is that show usually take place? November.
But if we can't practice, and if they say we can't have more than 10 people in a space,
right.
like how long is that going to...
Right.
So fingers crossed.
Yes, fingers crossed indeed. And I'm assuming there's video to these performances. Yes.
On our website.
Okay,
oh, yeah, you should look it up. It's on
our website. Yes, I will link to them for sure. And tell me a favorite performance of somebody else.
One of my favorite performances from somebody else is probably Shannon McKenna. Mm-hmm. She's an aerialist, and she's just badass.
Yeah.
I love watching her. She gives me the chills.
Okay.
Absolutely amazing person all around, and she's just talented beyond. Like,
awesome.
She also does podcasts.
Yes, she has the Artist Athlete, right? Yeah. Yes. Super cool.
Have you watched her?
I have watched her. I have checked her out. She's amazing.
She is. My other favorite is my good friend Jay. Oh, and I also love Molly Graves. She's one of my favorites too. She'll give you the chills.
Okay. I love it. I will link to both of those. And how can people connect with you?
Easiest way to get us is aerialdancepanamacity.com.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Well, thank you again so much for inviting me into your space, telling me about all the chaos that you guys have survived and continued to be in business. And thank you for having a space for all of our aerialists in North Florida and the surrounding areas. And yeah, thank you for opening up your space as soon as you can.
Well, thank you for being here. I'm excited to have you. Yeah. You need to come get in the air now.
I do.
Just don't
know.
Tell anybody. We're not supposed to be here.
No. We'll keep it a secret for the show. No one tell anybody about the
But we're going to post a bunch of pictures in a minute.
Right. So thank you guys for joining me, and we will see you another time. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Aerial Hour. I hope you learned something new or learned more about your favorite artist or at least had a relaxing time. If you want to know more about this episode, head over to theaerialhour.com and check out our show notes. You can follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Aerial Hour and write us a review on Apple. This really, really helps us, and it also just makes my day. I really, really hope you guys are enjoying this project as much as I am. It is truly a labor of love, so I appreciate your patience as I still continue to learn things on a regular basis. I think that's it for this episode. I'll see you guys next time. Bye. How many instructors do you have here currently?
So right now we have none.
Right.
Because we're closed.
Yeah.